Hello everybody and welcome back. We are here for week 2 of the challenges for September. Again, I have some freebies which I'm going to share with you in just a moment. Thank you to everybody that's been posting in the Facebook group and sharing the makes from challenge 1. As I explained in my previous video, there are only going to be 2 challenges throughout September because I have now started packing. I'm going to be moving in just under 2 weeks now. So yeah, I'm not going to be around for the 3rd challenge. There will still be freebies going out in week 3. I might even have a bonus set of freebies towards the end of the month. But yeah, this is the last challenge that I will be setting. If you post in the Facebook group, for each post that you make, if you just use the freebies, you get 1 entry per post for the prize drawing at the end of the month. If you use the freebies plus the gift kit, when my group reached 8,000, I gave away a kit in my Facebook group. If you use that as well, then you get 2 entries per post that you make. If you use either of my new kits for this month, so Autumn's Here or Witching Hour, and you post anything that you make with those, it doesn't matter whether it's related to a challenge or not, still post those in the group. If you use this hashtag for all of your posts, then like I said, it's just easier for me to track, and then you'll be entered into the drawing at the end of the month. So this week's freebies, I have a few sort of different style. They could be used in a journal for journaling pages. I'm going to be using them for collage today, but you could use them in a journal. But it's the gorgeous kind of florals that we've seen throughout the other pages and throughout the kit that I gave away. So there are 3 pages. I have printed these on standard 80 GSM, and then I've reprinted them on 160, and I'll share why I've done that in just a second. So the challenge this week is to make a waterfall style, well, it could be pockets, it could be a journaling card. I'm calling it a journaling card because I am going to be doing some journaling on the back. Now, I am using envelopes. This is a video that I did possibly a couple of years ago now for a challenge in a different group, but it's such a good one, so I thought I would revisit it and bring it back for this challenge. Now, I am using envelopes. You don't have to. You could just use strips of scrap paper and fold them over. I've just pinned them together just to kind of keep them together, but this is essentially just 2 envelopes. They are the same width and length, and then, I mean, obviously it depends on your envelope that you have. I didn't measure any of this, I just kind of eyeballed it, so I've got roughly, I mean, it's not dead even, but roughly a kind of even amount on each one. That first one's probably a little bit taller than these ones, but obviously as you start lifting them up, they will get bigger and bigger. Now, I am going to seal my envelope, so I am going to glue those down in a moment. You can still make these into pockets if you're using envelopes. I think the last time I did this, I made every one a pocket. I'm not going to do that this time because it's going to be too bulky, but what I'm going to do is the back one I will make into a pocket, and then I'll miss one, and then it'll be the second largest, no, sorry, second smallest that I'll make into a pocket as well, and I'll have 2 journaling cards in there, and that's why I printed on 160 GSM, because they'll be my journaling cards that fit into those. Yeah, so just to make this, all you do, I started with my longest envelope. I didn't push down on the fold, I just kind of folded it roughly where it gave me a decent gap. I then started to fold this one so that it looked like these pieces were even. As I said, this top part is a little bit wider than the others, but that's fine with me. Obviously, if you want to kind of measure it out and make it exact, then you can. Right, so all I'm going to do is just seal these envelopes. I'm just going to grab some glue, and then I'm just going to seal these. Now, I know I said I'm going to make pockets, but I will cut it on this side. So just going to seal that one and this one. Now these envelopes do have windows, I'm probably not going to worry about the windows. Obviously, if you want to include the windows in your design, then you absolutely can, but I'm not going to. I'm going to end up covering those because I said I want this ideally to be like a journaling card. So on the back, you'll have your space for journaling. These bits can look quite pretty. I mean, you may want to add some journaling space, but then obviously where you've got the journaling cards coming out as well, yeah, I just didn't want to make it too bulky by having too many removable journaling cards. So I'm going to have a journaling space on the back, so this essentially could be a journaling card all on its own. Like I said, you don't even have to make pockets. If you're not using envelopes and you're just using scrapbook paper, then you're just going to have these bits, and then these bits could be your journaling space if that's what you wish to do. So on my, we'll start with decorating the envelope. So I'll get the ones that are printed on a 80 GSM first, and then it's just deciding which ones obviously you want. Now for the back, as I said, that whole piece is going to be a journaling space. So because of that, I might decide to use this bit with the lined paper or this bit with the doily. I think I might go with this bit with the doily actually. And maybe get some of the flowers in there as well. So I'm just going to kind of lay that on there because, like I said, I want to get a little bit of the flowers in, but I've still got this note paper and I've still got a bit of the doily for writing. And then with a pencil, just going to make a little mark on each side, and that's where I'm going to cut. Just going to grab my trimmer. Okay, and that way. And obviously it doesn't need to be quite that tall. So I need to trim it about there. Okay, and then all of these pieces obviously I'll keep because they are useful for decorating other areas. Right, okay, so that's going to go on the back there. I think I might just make it a little bit slimmer. Just take a teeny tiny bit off that edge. That's better. Okay, so that's going to go on there. So again, another option is inking. I'm going to just ink around the edge of my envelope first. So I'm just going to hold it to the side, just do the edges, because obviously you're not going to, I don't want the white showing quite so much. I don't mind a bit of white, but I don't want it stark white. So just to save some time, I kind of just bunch all the envelopes together. And then you kind of get them. And then obviously I just need to do the ends of the envelopes. Yeah, as I said, I'm probably going to cover my windows. You can make them a bit of a feature if you wish to, if you're using windowed envelopes, but I'm not going to, because then I have to worry about obviously trying to put something on the inside. Actually, I've just inked that side and I don't need to, do I? Because I'm going to trim that. Actually, I'm going to do that now because you know that I'll forget in a minute. So you can use a trimmer, but I'm just going to use scissors. And I'm just going to cut a teeny slither just so I can open up this side. So it's not much. As you can see, teeny tiny little sliver. I'm just going up to where that folds. Okay, so that's that one. And then I said I was going to do this one, didn't I? So I'm just going to, again, just try and get a slither. Up until that fold. And again, I'm just going to re-ink that bit now. That's better. Right. So now on this side, that's going to go on there. So I'm going to ink around here as well. Just debating whether I want to round the corners. I don't think so. I don't think I will actually. Yeah, I love using envelopes for all sorts of things. And this is great because it just offers you so much writing space in one small space. So yeah, makes a great journaling card. Oh, that's upside down, isn't it? It goes that way. Not that I suppose it matters. But yes, the packing has started. Like I said, I've got less than 2 weeks now before we move. I'm trying to leave my craft room to be one of the last, just so that I can finish off certain things I'm getting on with. Obviously trying to get these challenges done. I want to get a couple of Tuesday challenges kind of sorted so that they're recorded and ready to go, even though I'm not necessarily going to be crafting. So yeah, it's just getting myself organised really. Right, so that's going to be the back of the journaling card. Now, the way that you attach this is entirely up to you. I'm actually tempted of doing a little binding in there, just so I've got a bit of string up the top here, just to kind of, again, add some decoration. So I think I'll do that at the end. But you could staple it together. You could use papers. So when I lift this up, you could put a piece of paper across both of these, and that will obviously stick that together. And then when you do this bit, again, you could have one big piece of paper that, again, just holds those pieces together. But I'm going to decorate mine with string, I think. So that's the back done. So now we just need to worry about this side. So I'm going to bring in some of these papers again. So obviously I've got these small pieces, which I think, oh, actually that one fits quite nicely, but that one might be quite nice on this side again as a somewhere to journal. So I might just trim that. So make a mark, and I'll do all my trimming together, I think. And then this one's going to have a journaling card. So if it's going to have a journaling card, I'm going to have this part quite decorated because the writing space is inside the pocket. Whereas this one, because it hasn't got a pocket, I'm going to have this one as a writing space. So I'm going to use these lovely flowers then. I might use this bit because when I've got that stuck up there, that then goes quite nicely, doesn't it? So I'm going to draw a little marking there, and obviously how wide I need it, about there. So bringing in my trimmer. Oh, that's upside down, that's not going to help me. Got to see where I put my mark now. Nope, can't see it. Where I put my mark? Oh yes. because obviously this is quite a busy design. I couldn't see the pencil mark. There we go. 1. And 2. Okay, so again, oh, I've got this one. That's going to go in there. Right, so I am just going to ink around these quickly. I do apologise for the lighting. It looks like it's evening, doesn't it? But it's actually during the day. But as per usual, it's very gloomy outside. It's very dark. It's raining. Just another day in the UK. Right. So I'll sort out what goes inside the pockets after I've decorated everything. Was it that way up? I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah, I'll do that way up. Again, I don't suppose it actually matters. You can have it whatever way you like, but okay. So as I said, I'm going to bind those. Right, then we're going to lift this up. Because this hasn't got a pocket, this is the one that I want to have some writing space. So I'm going to pull these back in and have a little look, see at what we've got. I mean, there are elements of writing space here, or if you had this strip, you could write in this bit. Or I've got this bit that has obviously the big lines on. I'm thinking I kind of want that flower in there. Let's see how big this is. I mean, I could literally cover the whole thing, couldn't I? Because I can always use this to kind of help decorate the top where it doesn't fit. So I think that's what I'm going to do actually, because I just love this section. So we've got part of the florals, we've got the postcard, but we have then got some writing spaces, which is obviously what I want for this bit. So I'm just going to, I think I'm going to line this up with the edge of the postcard. So we've got the edge of the postcard here, and then that's where I'm going to cut there. And I'm just going to have that whole strip. It's just double checking. I think I might need to make that slightly thinner. Just take a smidge off. Doesn't have to be a lot. Oh, that's the wrong one. Is it? No, that is the right one. Yeah, so that can go all the way up the top there. And then, like I said, I could have that. Yeah, so I don't want to cover that, obviously. So I could have it that way, couldn't I? So I do need to cut a slither off. I'm going to attempt to do that with some scissors. Right, then I'm just going to ink those, stick those down. I'm not going to ink the top because obviously I want it to reasonably blend in with that one. Oh, there's me saying I didn't want to do the top, and what am I doing? I'm doing the top. Never mind. It's fine. I'm sure it will still look fine. Right, so a bit of glue on this one. That's up the top. Okay, then this I'm going to stick over there. Okay, now obviously there is a bend in the envelope. I'm going to let my glue dry before I start trying to bend the paper. So I'm going to put that to one side. I'm just trying to think what's next. So that would flip up, wouldn't it? So let's cover these then. So if that's going to flip up, this is the orientation that we want. Again, this bit does not need a writing space, and since we've got this beautiful bird, we're going to have this one on the bottom pocket, I think. So I'm going to make a pencil mark there. And just checking where it's actually going to fold. I need it there. So I'll just double check that before I move this to one side. Yep, brilliant. Right, I've then got this piece here. So we've got these flowers. So I might use that actually. Save cutting into a new piece. Going to be a bit trickier to see these pencil marks, but that's okay. Right, let's do this one first. So, about there, and this one. Here's about there. Yep, brilliant. Okay, so ink and stick. Right, so now this is a bit more dry. I'm just going to fold that over. that's going in there, isn't it? So it's looking like this so far. I think that looks really pretty. So we just need to decide what's going to go up on this top one. I thought I had that one, if I'm honest. Was it going to be that? But I've then got that on the inside now, haven't I? Does this fit? A little bit. So do I use... I think I might use this actually. So I need to trim it there, but I think that's not long enough. I think I will use some of this at the top just to, because that one's not quite tall enough, so just to make it reach the top. I'm going to use my smaller guillotine for this one, and I'm going to cut them at the same time in the hopes that I can then make them the same size. Right, so I could pop that one right at the top. So it looks like that. Yeah, I really like that. Let's do that. So again, just going to give these a bit of an ink. Now I can obviously trim this down a little bit further if I wish to. Sorry, excuse me. Started to go a bit croaky. I blame my husband. He's been a little bit under the weather today and yesterday. So I think he's passing his germs on to me. Right, so that's that one, and then this one's going to go over the top. Oh, actually, I think I might put it that way. Yeah. Okay, so that should be that all done. So that lifts up, and that lifts up. So you essentially have what is a journaling card, but also on rotation. Now, if you weren't going to make these into pockets, as I said, you would possibly maybe decorate the front bits, but then have the top bits as your journaling spaces, if that's what you wanted to do. I said I was going to bind mine. Again, I'm just waiting for that glue to dry a little bit before I do that. So I'm going to make my two journaling cards because I've got one that needs to go in that back pocket and one that needs to go into this pocket here. So that's what I'm going to work on now, and then we'll do the binding at the end. So I still have this beautiful page to use, so I might use that for something else, or I might incorporate that, we'll see. But these are the ones that are then on slightly thicker paper, 160 GSM. So what I might do actually is use this one for my journaling card, since I've used the other pages, oops, for the other bits and pieces. Right. So if this is going to be my journaling card, I'm just going to take that out for a second. It needs to be about this wide. And I don't obviously want it the exact height because it's going to make it really tight getting it in and out. So I'm just going to lift my envelope up slightly. And then I'm going to make my mark again inside of the envelope. And then this one also needs to be cut. So again, I'm going to use that marking and I'm just going to come along a little bit further. That's where I'm going to cut. And then as far as the height, it needs to be about there. Right, let's do those bits then. So first I need to cut here. Okay, I think that's my mark there, but I'm just going to double check before I start slicing into things. Oh no, it can't be my mark. Right, I'm going to mark that again because I think oh no, there's my mark there, isn't it? You just can't see it very well because of the pattern, but I think that's my mark. Yep. Okay, so that's that journaling card. I'm just going to test it to make sure that it fits in nicely. And I'll put tabs and things on here as well. Okay, that was still a little bit tight, so I might still just take a teensy bit off, and I think I'll take it from the top because you don't want it too tight so that you're kind of trying to force it in and out. So that's that one. Right, the next one. Whoops. Was down here. And along there. And again, just going to test to make sure that that is going to fit. Okay, again, that is a teensy bit tight, especially because that's going to be bound as well. I do want a little bit off that one. Again, I'm going to use just the small trimmer, just because it's a bit easier with the small papers. Right. That's better. That's much better. Right, okay, so we've got those two journaling cards. Now, obviously these are currently white on the back, so I am thinking of using what's left over to do the backing, just to again make them a teensy bit sturdier. So I'm going to glue this one. Probably should check that it's the right way up. Yep. Okay, so that's those two. Let that dry for a second. Then we've got this one. I probably want something a bit lighter on this one, so I've got So I've got scraps obviously from the last one that we could use, because it still then gives you the journaling spaces, doesn't it? That could be quite good. Yeah, we'll do that. Oops. So glue on the back. That one goes on there. That one goes on there. Okay. Right, let's trim these up a little bit. Right, I'm going to use my smaller trimmer just because it's easier. Oh, it just about fits this way, that's perfect. Right, so that's that one. And that one, just a teeny slither. Taken off that side. Right. Now I think I will round the corners on these actually, because they're the journaling cards. I do like a rounded corner. Okay, and then I'm going to give them a little bit of an ink. Right, okay, so they're my two journaling cards. I think we're going to add some tabs on them. Now, I do have tabs in the kit, I think, but I'm going to use this just because it'll be a little bit quicker. So this is the 160 GSM again, so I'm just going to punch a couple out of this one. Might try and get some lace in. And fold. I'm going to give it again a little bit of an ink. And I need to decide the placement of the tabs, because ideally I don't necessarily want them in exactly the same spot, so let's just have a little think. If that one's in there, and that one's in there, so if I had a tab on that one, then I'd want this one near the bottom, wouldn't I? Yeah, so I think that's how I'm going to do it. So this one can almost go maybe just slightly higher than the middle. Like that. Yep, brilliant. And then this one we want more towards the bottom. So let's take that out. That one probably bends better there, doesn't it? So let's do that there. And that goes there. Excellent stuff. Right, that is then the second journaling card that goes at the back. I cut that wonky because it seems to fit nicely at the top but not so much at the other ends. I'm just going to give that a little trim. Clearly something's not cut quite right, so I'm just going to give it just a tinsy-tantsy little trim, and I'm going to do the same at the top again, just because it is a little bit tricky getting in and out that pocket. Oops. Better. Right, around those corners and do the inking again. Better. Right, let's see. Perfect. Right, now to bind them together. Okay, so I've got these different fibres. I'm going to use the kind of brown one because I think that would go quite nicely. So I'm just going to grab a length and cut. And I need my pokey tool and a needle to sew. So I'm just going to do a very, very simple stitch. Biggest challenge is threading the needle. I'm never very good at this. Maybe I need a wider eye. That's better. There we go. Let's pop you back in so I don't lose you. Right, so as I said, I'm going to keep this nice and simple. I'm actually going to take my journaling cards out because I don't want to ruin those in any way if I catch the top of them. So I'm just going to line this up and then I'm going to eyeball it. I'm just going to come in, I don't even know what that is, maybe just over a centimetre or half an inch. And the same on the other side. As I said, you don't have to bind in this way. You can use paper, you can staple. Go in and out. As I said, I'm not making this complicated, it's just going to go in and out. I'm going to tie a nice little bow at the top, and that will just hold everything together. Okay, so the first thing I do is just tie a little knot, and then obviously you can now make it all pretty with your bow. You could of course dangle some charms or anything off here as well. I'm just going to have my bow I think for now. I might add something to it at a later date. I'm just going to double knot that bow just so it doesn't start coming undone on me. There we go. Okay, and that's just bound those pieces together. So now we can pop the journaling cards back in. So this one goes in the back. Then we've got this one going in the second. Now you can of course spend time decorating the inside if you don't like the look of that inside of the envelope. I'm not overly fussed about that because you don't really get to see it, only when you're just trying to slot in your journaling card. I've got that one upside down. So yeah, so that's not something that fusses me, but again, you have that option to cover it if you wish to. So there is my challenge project. Just to remind you, if you are going to have a go and you post this in the group, that you use the hashtag nonstoppapercrafts8kgift. And then, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what you do. As I said, you don't have to use envelopes. You could just use long pieces of scrapbook paper, fold them over and decorate them however you like. But it's a nice kind of journaling card, but has some extra writing spaces. So, like I said, you can use these panels here as writing spaces if you choose to. Plus, you've got the additional journaling cards inside the pockets if you do decide to use envelopes. Thank you so much for joining me today. I do hope that you've enjoyed this challenge and that you will want to give it a go. I'm really looking forward to seeing your takes on these and how you embellish them. Thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next crafty video. Bye for now.